Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering Action Comics 202, Lois Lane's X-Ray Vision. It's been a minute since we've been awful to Lois, so we should probably make her feel like crap. It's legitimately all what the 50s have been doing to her. So this is a Lois-centric story, and Lois is about to get her own comic in like another year or two. She used to get one of the four Superman stories there for a bit before they eliminated that when comics essentially crashed after the end of World War II. Crash is a extreme word for that, but there was definitely a massive downturn, and Superman became a three-story comic instead of a four-story comic. But as we've talked about, the 50s have been a lot of Lois needs to be taught a lesson for being alive. Generally, these stories kind of forget to have Lois do anything bad other than just kind of existing. Like there was the story where Lois was getting attention from men from a different planet. All the men were infatuated with her, and Superman got mad that she didn't like turn them down and liked the intention because sometimes you do like the attention, and decided that she needed to be taught a lesson. Jerk stuff like that. This story at least remembers to have Lois kind of be not innocent. She does do some things wrong here. In fact, she tries to threaten Perry at the end of the story, but it still seems extreme and jerky to deal with Lois the way she is. Essentially, it's a story about why Lois shouldn't have superpowers, which is, I mean, she's had superpowers and done fine with them before. Honestly, she should have superpowers. She'd be less of a danger to herself, which is actually the better part of Lois, is that she kind of just throws herself out there. Here she finds X-ray specs. Yes, X-ray specs, like legitimate X-ray specs, the kind of things that were advertised in the back of comic books that didn't really work. It's like the most cliched joke of something you can buy from the back of a comic. Maybe sea monkeys being the other one, both poorly advertised. You thought you were reading something way more interesting than you did. But these work, and she's seeing through things, mainly to see Clark wearing the Superman outfit underneath, because all Lois stories are going to eventually turn into, well, in the 50s, will eventually turn into Lois trying to prove that Clark Kent is Superman, and him weaseling his way out of it. It turns out to be the subplot in a lot of Superman stories that I don't even want to bring them up, but I end up bringing them up anyways because he weasels out of it so easily that it's not even a challenge. That honestly, at this point, it's not worth bringing up, except this is the main part of the story. But essentially, I enjoyed the first third of the story where Lois gets to have fun with the X-ray specs, but then they decide to have it blow up in her face because she needs to be learning this lesson. Basically, she just can't do anything right with the ability to see through walls. Like, it's a creepy superpower. Not for Lois to have, but for, most straight men to have. That would be, honestly, terrible power for them to have. Even Smallville depicted his first time his X-ray vision really worked in a very sexist, creepy way where he falls off the rope and sees into the girls' locker room and doesn't seem to try to stop himself from that. Yeah, I remember that. Also, that show depicted his learning his heat vision was because he was turned on. Smallville was a wild ride. Some choices were made. A lot of bad choices were made when it came to Smallville, but we're not talking about Smallville. This whole thing lasts long enough for her to, claim that Clark is Superman, but he gets out of it by claiming that the costume is bulletproof and Superman just handed it to him because he knew Clark was going to die, and he can't be everywhere. He especially can't be places that Clark seems to be existing in. He's managed his way out of that. In fact, if Lois had tried to get this answer out of Superman while having Clark in the same room, there would probably be some puppetry involved. And his super ventriloquism power, which is incredibly useful, though he hasn't used it in quite a while at this point. I missed that power. Just so surprisingly useful in a way you wouldn't expect. Lois gives up the glasses after she tries to threaten to tell everyone that Perry was reading Western stories, which, who gives a crap? But he was apparently only doing that to lead to a Western story that Lois was going to cover, but now he's taking it away because, well, she did act pretty badly there. Honestly, she did deserve some sort of lesson teaching there. But Clark never needs to be taught a lesson. He usually just gets fired. anytime he's actually legitimately screwed up. But they always have to do it to Lois in a incredibly condescending way. And it's really only done to her because she's a woman, and these comics really can't handle really any idea for a woman. Oh, and something interesting to bring up, she does bring up a co-worker's name as being Cat. The name being Cat, which might be the first appearance of Cat Grant. I can't guarantee that. We don't know if it's Cat Grant or not. I'm pretty sure she hasn't shown up before. Pretty sure she hasn't shown up before. She could have shown up in Superboy because a surprising number of things show up in Superboy, but we'll get to that in another 2 shows. But as it is, it's definitely a better version of what is an awful story, but a polished turd is still a polished turd. I don't like the overall messaging of woman doing something, how dare she, of these Lois Lane stories. So no, don't read Action Comics 202. Okay, that is it from Action Comics 202, Lois Lane's X-Ray Vision. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when new videos up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story, either Detective Comics or Batman. I think I'm doing it this week. Until next time, let us ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? And why destroy these X-ray specs, Lois? You could use them at other times. Actually, it'd be incredibly helpful for your reporting. You just don't have to use them unethically. Okay, have a great day.